Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and with me this week is Eli.
Hello, I am Eli. I am in Denver right now.
Cool. So, what we usually do is start off with what we've been playing, and I don't even remember if I've played much of anything this week. I think I've just been playing Pokemon Go, and that just consists of me sitting. It consists of me sitting on my chair and just waiting until something comes by. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when Pokemon Go first came out in Canada, I thought I wouldn't be able to play it because it had the red bar at the top, oh, GPS signal not found, yada yada. And I'm like, oh, I guess I can't play it. And, you know, I tried to log in and I couldn't get in. So I'm like, okay, I guess it doesn't work. And eventually I tried like a couple of days later again. And it did let me log in and make a character and all that. So I'm like, oh, I guess it was just like a server problem. And then eventually some Pokemon came up and it, you know, went through the whole ordeal of choose your start and this and that. And I'm like, oh, so I guess I can play it because I'm still connected to the internet. I just can't move outside my house because otherwise I would lose the internet connection. And obviously I don't have a GPS, so it wouldn't track that I'm walking anywhere. So I don't think I can go to a Pokemon stop unless there's free Wi-Fi or something. It wouldn't work in a park, basically. But yeah, so they give you like 2 free incenses at the beginning, and what that does for the few people who don't know is basically it just attracts Pokemon to your location for like the next half hour. So I basically used those and got a bunch of Pokemon that way, and then I think I got up to level 4. And then I forget, I got some more new Pokemon which boosted up my level. I forget how else I did it, but basically I got to level 5 this week. So now if I were to go to a gym, I could choose a side or a team or whatever. And yeah, the catch rate has been made to be garbage after the latest update. They're gonna
fix it, reportedly.
Yeah. It was so bad because when I was first playing it, like the 2 weeks or whatever I had it, like I could throw 1 Pokeball and get it, no problem. And then it's like after that, it's like, oh, now the Pokemon are taunting you, and then you throw a ball and it either undershoots it or overshoots it or does something else, even if it's like even if the green circle is really small, which is garbage. I'm like, okay, now you're just pissing me off. But I guess they'll fix it. Who knows? But I've basically played as far as I can go without paying money for it or switching it over to like a phone or anything. So I'm just going to wait till my friend comes back from Australia and then just mooch off of his data for a bit when we both go out and try it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of fun. Obviously, I can't do much just sitting at my house, but there's still a thrill of trying to catch a Pokemon. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything else to say about it at the current time.
I guess I'll contribute that
Sure.
I'm still angry that Pokemon Go doesn't track distance correctly. And I went on, I did a 20-mile run last week, and it literally tracked 6 kilometers of an egg,
That's
which
terrible.
is like 4 miles. So I was pretty angry, and that's how it's been every run. About the same proportion. It's just that's the most drastic example that I have. But I'm just really annoyed by that. And then I hatched my 10-kilometer egg, and an Eevee came out, and that made me even more angry.
Why? What were you hoping was in the egg?
Anything but well, the 10-kilometer eggs are the best ones. Those are the ones when like the Snorlax has popped out. I got a Lapras out of one.
Nice.
Like a Dratini comes out of it. Like good Pokemon come out of it. And then there's Eevee, which I can catch anywhere else.
Yeah.
So that thoroughly annoyed me.
Oh, here's something interesting about my house. Apparently, it's great for attracting drowsies because I get at least like 3 to 5 drowsies in my my nearby list. Like, oh my gosh, come on. There's like 1 or 2 new Pokemon in there, and I'm just like hoping for something. It's a stupid drowsy. I'm like, get rid of this crap. I saw a Rhyhorn came up on my list at one point, and I'm like, I'm definitely not going to get that. I tried. I used the incense at that point, but it didn't come around. I guess it was too far. Same with like Squirtle and some other Pokemon. Basically just catching Drowsies. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. What's up with you?
So I've been playing. Let me think. Have I been playing anything on Wii U? No, I've not. The PS4 game I have been playing is I went back to The Last of Us,
Okay.
and I'm playing through it again because I got the remastered version for like $12 or something. And decided I would play through it again, and it's still really good. Like when I played it the first time, I thought it was the best game of the year, and just thinking back on it, I thought it was the best game of like in a long time. Like I really love The Last of Us. I don't know. Have you played The Last of Us, Matt?
Yeah.
Well, I forgot what you thought about it. I know we've talked about it, but I forgot.
I don't know. I liked it, but I wasn't like, this is the pinnacle of gaming or anything like that. Like, I enjoyed it, but I think some people blew it out of proportion as far as like story and everything goes. Like, I really only cared about like Ellie. Joel is just kind of an ass most of the time, and then the other characters for like 30 seconds before they're killed anyway. So I'm like, okay, well, I didn't get enough time to really care about this character.
Hey,
But
some of them survive.
I don't remember who. Well, I guess I won't spoil it for people who have the remastered, but I know the one pair of characters that I liked was I don't know the guy, but it's like a black teenager with his 6-year-old kid or whatever. It's like Ellie's age.
Yeah, I haven't got to
So
that part again in the remaster yet, but yeah.
like I thought they were cool characters, but not everyone lasts forever.
Yeah, no, but I'm playing through it again, and so I'm not like nearly as stunned as I was the first time I played it. And to be fair, I think most of my like amazement of the game came from the last half. Like probably once winter starts, winter to the end. So like the last half is when I really loved the game, I think. In the ending, which I hated, like detested at first, but then kind of grew to love. That really grew on me. So yeah, I'm playing through this game again, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. We'll see if I have the same reaction. I probably won't, since it is a replaying it, but so far I'm having some fun.
Cool. So where do you get?
And I realized the game is way easier than I remember it being.
Really?
Like, yeah, and to be fair, I'm not like playing on the hard difficulty or survival. I'm just playing on normal difficulty. So it would be understandable that it wouldn't be too difficult, but I just remember that I was really, really stressed out about playing last time I played through, and this time I'm not having nearly as much trouble or anything like that. And I think that's actually might be worsening my experience, because part of the game is how tense it is, and this and that and the other. And I feel like maybe if the difficulty was a little higher and it felt more tense because I could die at any moment, then maybe I'd like it even more.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first half being pretty good because, like, your equipment, you don't get a lot of equipment, so you have to ration it. But then after, like, the halfway mark, you're like, okay, well, I got about as much loot as any other Call of Duty character, so, like, that element of it is pretty much gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just get on to some news. There's not a whole lot, but there's some interesting stuff. So apparently there's some rumor from MCV UK. I don't really know their credibility or track rate or
They're
track
good. They're like the UK version of the NPD.
Okay. They said there's a bunch of third-party support coming for Nintendo. It seems pretty basic for the most part. They listed Ubisoft, Sega, and Square Enix. They listed 5.
Yeah.
Ubisoft, Sega, and Square Enix are confirmed so far. Square Enix was just confirmed like 2 days ago. They said they're bringing Dragon Quest 10 over, which is weird because it's like 4 years old or something, but whatever. That's for Japan. It hasn't been localized over here, so I don't see us getting it. But and they also said they were interested in bringing 11 over, or thinking about it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that down the line.
No, I wouldn't, especially if it's a mobile console. And it's already announced for 11's already announced for 3DS and PS4,
Yeah.
so it makes sense.
I mean, it's the fact that it's on 3DS. It's like, okay, if you really, there's nothing really holding you back if you're going to bother to put on 3DS. It's just amount of sales. But besides those already confirmed developers, they also listed Activision and Warner Brothers, which I don't know,
Okay.
seems
Now,
I
now
could
let's be clear about this. That means nothing. Some of the
yeah.
spectacular, I mean, Activision publishes Skylanders, and that would make a lot of sense that Skylanders would be on the NX.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take that one off the list. And then Warner Brothers does Lego. So
I actually forgot about both of those properties. The properties I was listing that would lead to their credibility, or Activision would bring Call of Duty because they put it on the Wii for crap's sake, so they'll put it on anything. But for Warner
except
Brothers,
the Wii U.
well, they put like one of them on it. I
I think they put even two on.
yeah, it was
maybe.
one or two of them. And then for Warner Brothers, I was gonna say Injustice 2, because that's apparently supposed to come out in March. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
it's not really hardware intensive, so I
I'm
could see them
I'm
pulling it.
reminding Sorry, I'm reminding people to temper their expectations a little bit
Yeah,
because I mean we just named off what each of those studios could possibly bring. I mean, and Sega's bringing Sonic, of
Yeah.
course. They already announced, and so until I hear a name like Bethesda, which today announced that they have nothing in development for the NX, or one of Square Enix's Western publishers, like oh yeah, we have Deus Ex in development, or yeah, we have
Final Fantasy, one of them.
yeah, one of the Final Fantasy games, something like that. Until we hear something like that, I really don't give this much credence in terms of the optimism. And like even yesterday, or 2 days ago, I published an article speculating about Ubisoft's possible NX games because we know that they have like 3 or 4 more in development. And just looking at it, if you look at the games that they had in development for Wii U, they had like ESPN sports connections, and they had Your Shape Fitness Evolved.
Yeah.
They had Rayman. Of course, they had Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell too. But like, they even had the unreleased Know Your Friends game, which is like that casual game they had in development for that they actually finished. They're finished. They're holding on to it. They said they'd release it at a good time. So I think that's pretty clear that probably is coming to the NX.
Maybe
So
Watch Dogs 2. I don't know when that's supposed to come
I
out,
would
but
I don't even know if that's like that would be coming because at E3 Ubisoft announced Just Dance and Just Dance for the NX and nothing else. Even though they showed Ghost Recon, which is coming out in March, they showed For Honor, which is coming out in February, around the NX launch. Neither of those two games are announced for the NX. Watch Dogs is coming out this year.
yeah, you're right.
So I'm like looking at their games and I'm like, I mean, I could see them release a Your Shape Fitness Evolved game on the NX and maybe a Rayman game and Know Your Friends and Just Dance. That's 4 games right there.
Yeah.
So like, or even bringing over their mobile games like Trials. If this is a mobile console, I could see them bringing a Trials game over. That would be a perfect game for the NX.
Or one of their other like downloadable games, like obviously Grow Home, that series or whatever is already out. But I mean, they could have one of those smaller titles come over too, so that would technically be another one.
Exactly, like a Grow Up, and then the other one like Rayman Jungle Run. If this is actually a mobile console, so like, well, actually, Rayman Jungle Run has like an 88 on Metacritic, so it's actually not a bad game, allegedly. So I mean, I'm looking like there's a lot of excitement, but if you're looking at these quotes and what these people are actually saying, it's that a lot of the quotes are either very cautious or like the one from Ubisoft, which is like they'll recapture the casual market. It's like, well, okay, that's great if they sell 100 million units, but that sounds like they're not bringing over For Honor or any of their other really big games.
Any of the ones people care about.
Yeah, although there is that rumor about Beyond Good and Evil 2. So that's the one exception.
True. Yeah, I wouldn't really use this as a way to like get excited because like you said, all of these quotes are very tempered. It's very middle of the road. Like they don't want to say no, but they don't want to say yes and be like held accountable for it later either. And yeah, I mean like at the beginning of any console's launch, you're going to have someone put a game on it because hey, no one has games for this thing. They'll pick up whatever is available. So, yeah, I wouldn't put too much effort into it or thought into it. It's a year after launch that you really have to worry about who's sticking around and who's not, because that's when it actually matters.
Yeah.
So
I wonder, and I mean, the other thing is that the Nintendo, and this is, I mean, for better or for worse, Nintendo has a much harder job in terms of keeping other companies around on the third party end because, you know, the NX could launch, it could launch with a terrific launch lineup, this and that and the other. It could sell 1 million units in its first 24 hours or whatever, like the Xbox One did.
Mm-hmm.
It could do pretty well in its first 6 months, let's say equaling the Xbox One, which is still pretty good because I think that's the second fastest selling console when it first launched.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't think that would be enough for third parties to come back. Like, they would need Nintendo either A, needs to pay off for third parties, which I have been saying for years, or, you know, they need to, or they would probably need to sell a crap ton of units. I don't think that, like, an acceptable number of units is even okay anymore. I think third parties are going to be too scared even then.
Yeah, because they'll probably wonder, okay, well, if this is the highest one of the other third parties gets, what's the chances of mine, right? Like, if the highest sales for a third party are okay, then you'd have to think that you might be lower than that, and that's probably not, you know, good enough for them.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bethesda, so their quote basically sounds like they're basically stating it comes down to whether the hardware is powerful enough or not. And since they've been saying, like, oh, we've been talking to Nintendo and briefed about what they're doing, it sounds more like what they currently have isn't good enough, and maybe if it changes, we'll do something. Like, it doesn't sound very promising. It's just like, oh yeah, they showed us what they did, and we know what they're up to, but we don't really have anything right now. It's like, well, it sounds like it's not going to be strong again.
Yeah. Agreed.
So we know Nintendo isn't going to be at the Tokyo Game Show, and Gamescom, they already listed what they're doing. It's just, you know, kind of rehashing some E3 stuff and some other demos we know of. But there's this GameStop Expo, and supposedly Nintendo's supposed to have a direct during September that shows off the NX finally. And this other GameStop Expo thing happens in September, so...
Do you think they're gonna... I mean, let's say the announcement is in September. Do you think it's gonna... I think we talked about this already, but do you really think it's gonna be a Nintendo Direct? Because I could totally see them having, like, an event in Seattle.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Because previously, I don't think they've ever announced a console outside, like an actual console, full console, outside of an E3 before.
No, I don't think the Directs took off around the time that Wii U and 3DS were out, like, as big as it is now. I think it was still, like, in its infancy, so there probably wasn't, like, a need to switch over to that, so I have no idea.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I could totally envision an event where they invite journalists to Seattle, to the headquarters NOA, and then just have like 10 launch window games there for journalists to play through and preview all at once after they announce the NX. Which I think would be a way better strategy, by the way, than a Nintendo Direct.
Well, I think what they could do is what they did with Zelda, where they have like their trailer or whatever. Let's say this NX Direct is like 10 or 15 minutes. And then they have, like, you know, someone at a show floor, whatever event this is, like, playing a bunch of games. Like, I could see that happening.
Mm.
Where they have, like, more details on the floor.
Yeah, maybe have... Oh, they could probably do a treehouse all day, and then while the journalists are mulling about.
That's true, too. So, yeah, I was wondering, like, I guess what's the likelihood of this GameStop Expo having, like, NX games there? Yeah, like, I don't... The only thing that would make me think there's a possibility is just the correlation between dates, and we don't even know if they're going to show anything in September anyway.
Yeah, I think it's zero.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really seem like it's a big enough event. The only thing I would say is like at least it's a public event, so unlike the Wii U, they could, dispel any sort of confusion. It's like, oh, here, try it out, see how it's different, blah blah blah, and then tell your friends or some crap, like
Yeah,
they
maybe
did with the Wii U tour. But that was like,
that was a fun thing, by the way. That was good.
but that was also like 2 to 3 months before it launched. So, and we're like 7 or 8. So I mean, it's not even like
Yeah,
a equal comparison.
yeah. And who knows? I mean, Nintendo. It's a March launch too, which makes it strange. We'll see how promotion goes. I don't even know. I just want to know what the console is already. I'm tired of this, like, you know,
Mulling over
the
rumors.
yeah, exactly. And each one, and I'm so gullible, I read every rumor and I'm like, well, this could be true. But right now, like, and then I'll read a new one and it'll like override the old rumor.
Yeah.
But right now, the one I'm lending the most credence to is definitely Eurogamer's report, because not only did they report it, but then a bunch of other sources, including IGN, MCV, Wall Street Journal, confirmed that they had heard similar things. And there was very detailed, and Eurogamer would not put its reputation on the line, I don't think, for a rumor. So I think that's the one I'm buying into as of this moment.
Yeah. And I mean, for the most part, it's basically just that rumor was like recycling things we knew, other than like the detachable controllers. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be hard to disbelieve.
Well, and the infrastructure.
What
Like,
part
we
of it?
didn't really know that they would have whatchamacallit. We didn't know that they'd have
Oh,
like a Tegra
okay,
architecture,
the chips, yeah. What was I going to say? Shoot. I was going to say, yeah, I think it's hard to kind of disprove the Eurogamer thing or rumor, because we've seen so many like patents and rumors from other people across like the last year and a half, like corroborating the same thing. And it's not like it was at the same time like, oh, Eurogamer has it, every other outlet is gonna say they have something, they've heard it, because maybe they want to jump on the bandwagon and get clicks or something. But like, these things we've heard from several different places at several different times, so it's
Yeah.
like it's kind of hard to not think this is real. I mean, the patent for Zelda Breath of the Wild, of it being on a handheld or a cartridge, it's like, well, that tells you right there that this is going to be some form of a handheld. Like,
Ooh, I mean, yeah,
I mean,
kind.
it's for Wii U and NX, and the Wii U doesn't use cartridges, so that would mean the NX has to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a handheld.
Well, I
They could
mean,
have.
I
I
don't
mean,
really see
you could have
them.
done you could do SD cards in a console.
Well, that's what I mean. Like
Oh,
a
okay, sorry.
3DS cartridge kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
my bad. I got distracted.
No problem. Yeah, the detachable controllers thing seems the weirdest to me. It just so weird. Like, why it?
I mean, I'm thinking more something like the NVIDIA Shield. I'm not thinking like those images that they had, the mock-ups. I don't think it's like that. I think it's like the NVIDIA Shield, and the controller's just detachable.
Mhm. Maybe I saw. I think it was Nintendo World Report. They were theorizing that, or at least one of the guys on there was theorizing that it's for like VR, sort of, where you have like the screen, and I guess you would dock it in your face somehow, and then the detachable controllers are like the motion controllers that you see with other VR units. Obviously, it would be like lower tech, but
That's interesting, but I don't know. It's
yeah,
an interesting idea.
for
I
sure.
I could see it working like a VR unit, but I don't think the detachable controllers would be motion. I don't think that's how it would work, but yeah.
I guess depends on how they make the detachable controllers. Like, what is the exact part that's detachable,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So Apparently, a Taiwanese supply chain saying the NX is going to be in production by the end of this year, reported by Digitimes. This supply chain also stated other companies are contributing parts to the NX, so Foxconn with most likely the case, which they've done for the last couple of consoles. Macronix doing the 3DS cartridges, the cartridges which we've heard other sources before and heard this from the past, and then Pixart, which apparently does VR and heart rate monitors, which Digitimes reported before. So maybe those rumors from Digitimes had something to them, or they're just referencing them again. I don't know.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, Digitimes is really like off and on sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird thing about them is so their track record is something like 50-50. Like 50% they're out spot on, 50% they're not. But it's weird because when they're spot on, it's like it's not just, a general like, oh, the NX, in the past, like the Wii U's blah, blah, blah. It's like very specific in details and has like specific factories they're referencing and this and that and the other, and like every detail will be correct.
Mm-hmm.
But they're only right like 50% of the time. So I don't know. Well, I'm just gonna listen to, Eurogamer until I get confirmation from them.
Well, it's weird that this has come up again because Digitimes reported some of these other things happening before, but it seems like this is coming from an actual I don't know, manufacturer or manufacturers. So it seemed like they'd have something out I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It seems like it would be more credible because it's coming from the manufacturers, but I couldn't really get the source to really look at it myself. I mean, that's the one thing Digitimes sucks at. You can't find the stupid source on their site. They don't have
I mean, usually they're secret sources and stuff like that, but
I guess, but
I mean, I guess
they said they were quoted.
It would fit the timeline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were quoting someone. So, I mean, they obviously got it from somewhere.
Yeah.
They just don't list it. They just say, these are the last few articles we've done. It's I don't care. Where's the one you got from this place? Garbage.
Yeah.
And then, so Pokemon Go has been up and down since basically the launch. Apparently now they're hiring a community manager, which is, nice to hear since they've only talked twice in, I don't know, the whole month that this game is launched, I think. Whenever it launched. Apparently they had to shut down their third-party apps because it was clogging up the servers and preventing them from launching in other countries and this and that. But I have to call bullshit on that because if your problem is, oh, well, we have to close these other apps because they're clogging up the servers and we can't launch in more countries. Launching in more countries is also going to clog up the servers. So it's the same problem. You just switch to who's causing it. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny. But a lot of people were upset. Did you use PokeVision?
A few times, but didn't really reveal anything eye-opening to me. I already knew it was around me. So I was planning on using, if I went somewhere new, but I hadn't really delved into it,
Yeah, that was the one thing that people were pretty upset about that they couldn't use because they couldn't really accurately see what Pokemon were in their area.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. Listen, if they just fixed their game, then we wouldn't have to have this discussion.
Exactly. It was funny because they took out the whatchamacallit, the nearby feature too, or not the whole feature, but just
no, the steps.
Yeah, the steps. That's what it was. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna take your ability away to see it from other websites and in game, so now you can't get nothing. But actually, just saw an article a couple hours ago or whatever that they're apparently testing new versions of the nearby section with a handful of people, and apparently it's working better for people. It loads faster, and it doesn't show duplicate Pokemon. So in my case, where you have like 6 Drowsies out of the 9 Pokemon you could see, it would only show one of them instead of all 6 of them, so it wouldn't clog up your feed. And then it shows Pokemon that are only closer and etc. and some other things. I forget. Reddit posted some stuff. There's some stuff on Go Nintendo. Yeah, that's all the news I was able to find this week. I don't know, did you see anything interesting come out this week you wanted, Gus, or just a general topic?
Gosh. I mean, Nintendo isn't doing anything. They don't have any games. I don't even know if they're like functioning. I feel like, the NX department is like chugging away, like hammers and everything building this thing. Yeah. Kimishima looking over it, stressed out that like he doesn't want to lose his job if he screws up. And everyone else in Nintendo's probably like taking a nap or something. I don't even know. These games, I mean, they haven't put out games in years. I'm sure these NX games have been done for a while now.
I guess they're just waiting for everything to come together so they can have like this major blowout, or at least I hope it's a major or perfect blowout, because why the heck else are you being so silent this whole time? Like that has to be the reason.
Yeah,
I would think. Teardrop.
I mean, hey, at least the 3DS doesn't have like a terrible year. I guess you got Dragon Quest. Like, if honestly you want to delve into 3DS stuff this year, you'd be busy for a little bit. You got Dragon Quest 7 and 8 coming out. You got
Metroid.
Crap. There were other games.
The Metroid game that comes out next week, I think.
Yeah, Metroid comes out. I mean, nobody's gonna play it, but Metroid's coming out. You had Bravely Second that came out earlier this year. You had the Mario and Luigi game. And there are more games for 3DS. It's not a terrible year for 3DS. The Wii U had an abysmal year.
Yeah.
But the 3DS isn't that bad.
Yeah. Apparently like Phoenix Wright and Yokai I watched too.
Yeah, exactly. I think this will actually and then Rhythm Heaven released digitally.
Mario Party.
Mario Party. I think this may actually be like the worst last year of a console life cycle we've ever had.
For Wii U?
For Nintendo.
Oh, you
like
mean
the first
overall?
last year. Yeah, I mean like the worst last year. Yeah, before the new console came out.
Yeah.
Because at least the Wii U had a year before the Wii U launched, we got Zelda. Then we got we got Xenoblade, we got Last Story, we got Pandora's Tower. There's got to be, I think there was one more game. So that's 5 games. And the Wii U's gotten a very mediocre Star Fox game that doesn't work for half the people that play it. Pokken Fighters. A remake of a great game, but it's still a remake. And then, what?
Which game was the remake?
Twilight Princess HD.
Oh, right.
And then Paper Mario Color Splash, which is a game based off of another game that nobody liked. So I'm going to say this is the worst last year we've had.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, I remember the last 2 years of the Wii being like pretty sparse, but this is just like the year didn't even really start off that good. There was, like you said, Twilight Princess, which is whatever. Most people probably have that anyway. And then like 6 months of nothing. Actually, what was the last game released? Pokken Fighters?
I guess, Pokken Fighters and Star Fox were the same month, but I don't remember which came first or last.
I think it was like, I think someone's writing July or June or something.
Wait, what?
I think it was like July or June or something like that.
Wait, what was? I'm confused.
Star Fox or Pokken Fighters? No, Pokken Fighters.
But they came out in April.
Oh, okay, April.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I was just quickly checking something. Yeah, so like 6 months and nothing. And then, then Paper Mario doesn't look all that great. And there's pretty much nothing else, so it's basically April to March. Basically, like, just waiting a year for Zelda.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's sad. I'm gonna cry. Not really. All right. I mean, I don't know. I think that's pretty much everything for this week. Nintendo's not doing anything.
Yeah, unfortunately. Pokemon Company is basically doing all the heavy lifting for
Yeah.
Nintendo. Pokemon
Tune
Go.
in next week.
The
Tune in next week for another episode of I Wonder What the NX Is.
That's what we've been doing the last year and a half. Gosh. So, at least next week, or at least this Friday, the Pokemon Company is going to show off some Pokemon Sun and Moon stuff.
Yeah, hey, Pokemon's coming this year. We totally forgot about that too.
All right. Well, I mean, that's for 3DS. 3DS is doing decently at
Yeah,
least.
and I'm gonna catch them all again because I had to evolve all the Pokemon last time, and now I have to have tons of Pokemon sex to make them all have babies, so that when they hatch, I can get them in my Pokedex.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, I guess that wraps it up for this week as UnoClay logs online. You can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And where can people find you?
Find me on Twitter at Paulo Salon and find my writing at NintendoEnthusiast.com.
Cool. So wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, Podomatic, Destructoid, and IGN. You can leave us comments and questions, and if you want to be a guest. So we'll see you next time and leave gaming to Nintendo.